area outing deal today. Jalen Brunson out with a sore neck. So Jose Alvarado from Brooklyn, his first start as a Knick. Boy, did he play well. 16 points and a season-high 10 assists. And you got to have Hart. Josh with his highest point total as a Knick. 33 points, 12 of 13 shooting from the floor. And the Knicks blow out the Pacers 136-110. Great to have you with us, everybody. A feel-good win tonight for the Knicks. Bill Pito along with Alan Hahn. So the first quarter, again, wasn't great. But from then on, it got better and better. And the Knicks ended up blowing out the Pacers in the second half, outscoring them by 18 points.
Yeah, the offense was just incredible in this game tonight. And it was without Jalen Brunson. There was a lot of concern about the fact that who's going to create offense because he is the best offensive creator on the team. Well, what it was is a lot of passing the basketball, a lot of movement, some fast breaking as well, but knocking down threes. The Knicks were able to keep pace, no pun intended, with the Pacers early on. They couldn't miss, but neither could the Knicks. So staying in the game and staying with it early on allowed them to eventually take over.
Pacers in the first half hit 11 threes. In the second half, they made only 6. Knicks up by 4 after the first quarter, up by 8 at the end of the half, and things started to pick up at the end of the first half and then really picked up for the Knicks in the third quarter.
Yeah, and certainly picked up with Josh Hart. It was just, he was, I mean, on fire throughout this game. But late in this half, he knocks down a corner three, he knocked down another three as well. And that's why the Knicks were able to build the lead, because of those late threes that he knocked down. But this is a lot of, you can see it's a lot of tempo and a lot of ball movement, right? You're just seeing the Knicks really with great action and activity on offense, and you got to credit Alvarado early in the game for his ability to move the basketball, to push the pace as well. And Hart was just feeling it. He knocked down some early threes. He knocked down some shots in the paint, and he just started to get into a rhythm where he didn't feel like he could miss. And then in the third quarter, you saw Karl-Anthony Towns take over, another 20-point scorer for the Knicks tonight, as he got things going on the boards as well. But I just feel like, Bill, so much of this game was about the Knicks getting downhill and not letting the Pacers defense get set in half court. And then certainly when you have one-on-one situations take advantage of, you do. Alvarado had a really good game in his start, as he had 16 points, he had 10 assists, and he knocked down 4 threes. Remember, Alvarado was very critical of himself for not being able to hit some threes lately, but he did tonight.
Yeah, Alvarado coming in from downtown before this game, 27% three-point shooter so far as a Knick, but much better night. You see the numbers, 38 assists for the Knicks. Notice points off of turnovers, significant points in the paint also, and up higher. How about the Knicks outboarding the Pacers by 13? Here now with OG Anunoby. OG, thank you for stopping by. You guys gave up 64 points in the first half, only 46 in the second half. What was the difference on the defensive end?
Just, getting stops, communicating better, better contests, and just, weathering the storm, We know a game's going to go up and down. Teams are going to make shots at certain points. So just staying with our defensive principles and continue to play.
Jalen Brunson out with a sore neck. You scored 15 of your 26 in the first quarter. How did Brunson's absence impact your approach to start the game?
Just being aggressive. The ball's finding me, and I'm always aggressive, I think. I'm always trying to make a play, whether for myself or for my teammates. And
worked out really well for you guys, but overall, what are the challenges of playing teams like these when you have a playoff spot basically wrapped up?
Oh, I mean, every game is a chance to get better. So we don't take any opponent lightly. We know the Pacers are a great team. Every game's a chance to get better, so we never take it for granted.
OG, thank you for stopping by. Congrats on a great game.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All right, now, so Hart goes 12 of 13 shooting, and OG 10 of 13 shooting from the floor. And as I asked him, his start was really important.
Oh, it's critical, right? Again, it was who was going to carry the load offensively, especially in the first quarter when Towns goes to the bench for his normal rotation minutes, and it was OG Anunoby. And this is what he has been, of course, lately. We have seen this where he's getting aggressive on drives. He's getting the three-point shooting touch back. The toe issue he had out of the All-Star break, he got through it, and he was able to get better. And the number I keep going back to is my favorite stat. When Anunoby hits 2 or more threes, the Knicks now this season are 28-7.
All right, we talked about Josh Hart's game, his best point production as a New York Knick. And we take a look at the Breathe Like a Winner presented by Blue Air. They needed scoring, and Josh Hart, I don't know if we expected Josh Hart to score 33. They needed more scoring than normal from him. He really scored a lot of points.
I don't know if Josh Hart knew that he was going to bring this kind of scoring or have this kind of a shooting night, but he did. And early on, if you're feeling rhythm the way you do, the way a player can, and get into that rhythm, And things like this start to happen, that's when he starts to believe. But the threes were the biggest thing early on, especially late in that half. It was a close game in the second quarter still because the Pacers just wouldn't go away and kept knocking down threes. But Hart hit a couple of corner threes. He made some hustle plays as well in this game, and that gave the Knicks that cushion at halftime that they were able then to take and make a bigger lead in the second half.
Okay, Alan, let us now bring in Monica McNutt, help call the game tonight on the radio on ESPN New York. Monica, what do you think? Knicks dominant in the second half, struggled a bit early, but really poured it on in the last 2 quarters for sure.
Well, I heard you guys talking about it. The night that Josh Hart had, when I looked at the box score and said, oh, he only missed 1 shot? Like, that is a night, okay? But deserving of that night, we talked about the energy that he brings to this team going into tonight's contest. But I will say, I like the way that the defense was able to show up in the second half. In the first half, you're like, okay, cool, everybody's making threes, but emphasis on everybody, as in both teams. So were the Knicks going to be able to allow their defense to be felt by the Pacers? And I thought that's what you saw in the second half. But I also will add, I thought Karl-Anthony Towns had a terrific game, but Jose Alvarado's ability to be steady in that point guard spot, very impressive.
Yeah, 26 minutes, he had 10 assists. He had 1 turnover, with the ball in his hands a lot, and you could tell really pushing the pace and trying to get the Knicks down the floor. There was just a lot of movement with him out on the floor. This is what he brings. This is why Mike Brown loves him so much, right, Mom? Because he can change the pace. We talked about in the pregame show, with him starting, what will look different, it was him making sure that guys were getting up the floor because he was running. Who's running with me? I'll find you for some rhythm baskets.
Definitely that. I thought he did a great job of keeping his dribble alive. We saw his defensive energy, particularly in that stretch that ended the second quarter. Guys just diving on the floor, trying to get to the basketball and make plays. I thought he had a great game. And for him to get back to the three-point shooting that he believes of himself, 4 of 7 from the three-point line for Alvarado is outstanding. I mean, I'm pretty sure that was his first double-digit performance since he had that big game when he first joined the roster back in Philly in February.
All right, guys, Alvarado is the subject of tonight's thrilling moment presented by FanDuel Casino. Get your thrill on. There's just an X factor to him, Alan. He gives the team a little bit of physicality, a little bit of intensity.
A little bit of juice, a little bit of that New York, right? That's what he is, and that's what he's about. That's where he's from. He's from Brooklyn. He played high school ball at Christ the King. It means the world to him when he was introduced in the starting lineup tonight. As most players are introduced by their college, he was introduced from Christ the King High School. That's what he wanted. He wanted to represent. And that's what he did tonight for his first Knicks start at Madison Square Garden. He was in great rhythm. Seeing those threes go down was so important for him because he had been struggling. He talked so openly and candidly about the struggles he was having, but he put the work in. He also knew how important this was for him to make an impact for his team as a starter with the superstar Jalen Brunson out of the lineup.
And Monica, every Knicks starter in double figures. Mikal Bridges didn't shoot especially well again. Only 4 of 12, but he did finish with 10 points, and everyone else in the starting 5 was in double figures, as was Mitchell Robinson, who again was effective off the bench.
Yeah, I do want to say this, though, Pito, because I think folks got to be mindful that when you're in a slump, the way Mikal Bridges is, we can call a spade, it becomes as much mental, if not more mental, than it actually is physical. So I was encouraged that we're not seeing him turn down shots, because the only way to get through it is literally to shoot himself out of it. So he's got to keep going in that vein. And, of course, Mitchell Robinson minutes, I thought those were outstanding. He's a monster on the glass. 47 double-doubles now for Karl-Anthony Towns. As far as being able to look at the margin, the final score of this ball game, and say, okay, this team handled its business, you got one of those versus a team that has struggled to put W's in the left-hand column.
And if I could just put a bow on the Mikal Bridges conversation, he took 12 shots. That's a good sign because get yourself involved. I think the up-tempo certainly helped him. But I'll also point out, the steal, the block, 5 assists. He talked about it. Stay aggressive, find ways to be aggressive, find ways to make an impact. It doesn't always have to be in scoring. There's other things you can do. And those are the areas, of course, you look at on a box score and say, okay, they didn't have a good shooting night. What else did you bring? He brought those elements.
He's indestructible. Turns his ankle, stays in the game.
And that
hits his elbow, stays in the game.
But that ankle turn, right? I know you saw the replay, Monica, right? Early in the game on the layup attempt, that ankle turn was pretty severe. Most players probably would have limped off the court. But he's talked about how he just has something in his DNA that helps him recover. He's like Wolverine. He can recover so quickly from an injury.
I need to get some of that, because if you ask me, I'd be like, yeah, I'm out. I'm shooting terrible. That's enough. Let me get one out. I started.
My ankle would have fallen off completely if it been like that.
I'm cooked.
All right. Monica, as always, we appreciate it. We'll see you soon.
Sounds good.
Up next, the MSG 150. We got the Magic in action against OKC, and full highlights and more next on the 150.
The Knicks postgame show is presented by Audi. Visit